This presentation will outline a past, present, and future issue our ocean faces: plastics. Our ocean is a place of wonder. The ocean covers almost 72% of the Earth's surface and is home to nearly 600 million close inhabitants in areas with less than 10 meters of sea level. Coastal communities themselves make up 37% of the global population. The coral reefs that you see here inhabit only a small portion of our ocean, making up less than 1%. Surprisingly, these small areas are home to more than 25% of all marine life, of the estimated 300,000 species in existence. Most people in the world will not get to experience the majestic nature of this place firsthand. It is estimated that 35% of the world's current population has not visited any ocean body of water. Our oceans are vastly important to the well-being of the planet as a whole. The ocean itself is responsible for creating oxygen in quantities far greater than the Amazon, absorbing more carbon dioxide than our atmosphere, and it is the most influential body responsible for climate regulation. It is a food source for millions and an economic necessity for even more. These areas that you see may not look like much, but even the smallest of creatures living in the smallest of areas all play a vital role to ocean health. Unfortunately, our ocean isn't as pristine as we've just seen. Each year, billions of metric tons of plastics are disposed of directly or indirectly into this body of water. The video that you see here was taken in Bali, one of Indonesia's most famous islands. Without experiencing it firsthand, the Bali that the world knows is quite different. Through clever advertising and often borrowed pictures from other places, we would never know that the entire island is surrounded by floating and beached plastics. Circling this island on a scooter, I was unable to find a coastal area that was not heavily influenced by plastics. Bali is just one example of the increasing problem of ocean plastic, most of which are single-use plastics. Single-use plastics are the greatest contributor to our ocean's plastic problem. Manufacturers contribute enormously to the problem. Coca-Cola, for instance, uses bottling products that are 100% recyclable, but only use 24% recycled material in the products they produce. This displays a false sense of good for the world, but allows companies like this to claim sustainability. They participate in recycling programs, but more often than not, the recycled material we collect here in the United States gets shipped to an economically lower country for disposal, which equates to landfills or the ocean. It is cheaper for developed nations, such as the US, to use this method than to actually recycle the material ourselves. Developing nations either cannot keep up with the quantity or just accept the waste shipments in exchange for payments with no intent on recycling. Manufacturers cannot bear all the blame. To run a successful business, one would simply produce in coordination with demand. The issue is that our appetite for consumption only continually grows. Plastics are cheap to make and are found in almost every product in some quantity, even clothing. In order to reduce the burden we are placing on our ocean, we need to look at curbing consumption. Advances in recyclable plastic material are being made, but responsible recycling initiatives can only do so much. 97% of the world's fishermen live in developing countries, and fishing is their major source of food and income. The continuous presence of foreign material such as plastic wreaks havoc on juvenile fish habitats such as reefs. Plastic sticks to corals, block out sun, and reduce the coral's ability to feed. In turn, the corals bleach and die. The result is a habitat not suitable for growth, and fish populations worldwide decline. Oceans plastics kill millions of marine and land animals every year, some of which are on the endangered species list. This video shows my interaction with the small fishing village on a tiny island in the Philippines. We can see that these reefs are barren, with little to no fish activity. The corals themselves are diminishing in health and will soon begin to bleach and die due to constant abuse from the new fishing techniques, as well as from lack of fish, which are a vital necessity for a healthy coral reef. The once line fishing techniques were changed to drag nets as the fish populations declined. Two boats span out over the reef and begin to slowly move forward. They close the distance between them and create a circle which captures everything in its path. This reef is the village's main source of food and income. In the 3 days I spent fishing with them, the hauls were meager and the continued damage from the nets apparent. A diminishing habitat leads to a depleted fish stock. As we can see, plastics in our ocean is a compounding problem. As our numbers continue to increase, so do the related effects of their harm. This leads to the question of what can be done to combat this increasing problem. For starters, alternative technologies need to be more readily used instead of traditional plastics. As seen on one of the previous slides, plastics from packaging far surpass all other areas. A new emerging technology is a plastic made from a byproduct of corn. Bioplastics made from this polylactic acid are biodegradable, unlike petroleum-based plastics. This means that over time, these plastics will actually be reabsorbed into our planet. Using this technology to replace our food packaging would lessen the impact of plastics in our ocean. A better alternative would be to avoid using single-use plastics. With less consumption, we will have less production. Awareness also needs to be increased on a global scale. Based on the estimated number of people that have never visited an ocean body of water, it would be safe to assume that many people only know of the pristine conditions found in advertisements and movies, or of the large plastic patch in the Pacific Ocean that makes the news every so often. In the push for climate change responses, damage to our ocean from anything other than fossil fuel consumption is often forgotten. Nonprofits such as the Oceanic Society, Plastic Pollution Coalition, and the Plastic Soup Foundation can only do so much on their own. Television corporations such as the Discovery Channel and National Geographic do an excellent job of highlighting the issue, but unfortunately the majority chooses to watch other programming. Larger nations need to manage their own waste by reduction and recycling without relying on developing nations to dispose of their waste. With Earth being the only known planet with a consistent, stable body of water, it is imperative that we maintain its health. The world would only benefit from the reduction of plastic use, and our oceans would have a chance to thrive once again.